The planet Volcanis 9 was a harsh volcanic world, known for its fiery landscapes and dangerous wildlife. A group of alien explorers, known as the Varduk, landed on the planet, eager to find new resources. The Varduk were tall, with thick scales to protect them from the heat, and their red eyes glowed in the dark. Their leader, Captain Raxer, was confident that Volcanis 9 would be an easy conquest. As the Varduk exited their ship, they noticed the ground was hot, the air was thick with ash, and rivers of lava flowed nearby. But Captain Raxer ignored the dangers. "We have conquered planets before. This one will be no different," he declared, leading his team forward. As the Varduk explored the planet, they encountered strange plants with bright orange flowers. One of the Varduk, named Zilek, touched a flower out of curiosity. Suddenly, the flower released a cloud of spores. Zilek coughed and stumbled, feeling dizzy. "It's just a plant," Raxer said, dismissing the danger. But soon, Zilek's scales began to blister and he collapsed. The Varduk rushed to help him, but their medical tools couldn't stop the poison. Zilek's condition worsened, and within hours he was gone. The Varduk were shocked. They realized that Volcanis 9 was more dangerous than they had thought. But Raxer still refused to turn back. "We must press on," he ordered. "There is no turning back now." As the Varduk continued their journey across Volcanis 9, the ground beneath their feet began to rumble. The air grew hotter, and the sky darkened with ash clouds. Suddenly, they heard strange growling noises echoing through the rocky terrain. The Varduk stopped, their red eyes scanning the horizon, searching for the source of the sound. Without warning, the ground split open, and massive creatures made of molten rock emerged from the cracks. These were the lava beasts, ancient guardians of Volcanis 9. The creatures were towering, with bodies that glowed red-hot, as if they were made of living lava. Their eyes were like burning coals, and their breath was fiery and scorching. The lava beasts moved slowly, but every step they took caused the ground to shake and melt beneath them. Captain Raxer shouted for his team to prepare for battle. The Varduk soldiers aimed their energy weapons at the approaching beasts and fired. Bright blue beams shot through the air, striking the lava beasts. But the beams simply sizzled and disappeared into the creatures' molten bodies, leaving them unharmed. The lava beasts roared, their voices like the rumble of a volcano, and continued to advance. One of the Varduk soldiers, Vera, tried to move to higher ground to get a better shot. But as she did, a lava beast suddenly lunged at her with surprising speed. It grabbed Vera in its massive, fiery claws. Vera screamed as the intense heat burned through her armor and scales. The lava beast squeezed tighter, and within moments, Vera was crushed and consumed by the molten monster. The other Varduk soldiers watched in horror as their comrade was destroyed. Fear began to spread among them. They had faced many dangers in their travels across the galaxy, but nothing like this. The lava beasts were unstoppable, impervious to their weapons, and terrifying in their raw power. Captain Raxer tried to keep his team focused. "Fall back," he ordered, his voice loud and commanding. "We need to retreat to the ship." But the lava beasts were relentless. They continued to push forward, forcing the Varduk to scramble for safety. Captain Raxer led a small group back towards the ship, urging them to move faster. "Keep going. Don't stop," he yelled, but the fear was clear in his voice. The lava beasts were getting closer, their fiery breath scorching the air behind the fleeing Varduk. Finally, the ship came into view. The remaining Varduk soldiers sprinted towards it, desperate to escape. But as they neared the entrance, one of the lava beasts let out a deafening roar and lunged at them again. This time, the Varduk barely managed to dive into the ship before the creature's molten claws could reach them. The ship's doors slammed shut, and the Vardic could hear the lava beasts pounding on the outside, trying to break in. Inside, the Vardic were panting, their scales scorched, and their spirits broken. They had lost more soldiers, and their confidence was shattered. Captain Raxer knew they had to leave immediately if they wanted to survive. As the ship lifted off, the lava beasts continued to claw at it, their molten bodies leaving deep scorch marks on the hull. But finally, the ship pulled free from their grasp and soared into the sky, leaving the fiery monsters behind. The Vardic were safe for now, but the memory of the terrifying encounter with the lava beasts would haunt them forever. The Vardic soldiers were inside their ship, but they were not safe yet. As they tried to lift off from Volcan is 9, they realized something was wrong. The ship shuddered and groaned, but didn't rise off the ground. Captain Raxer rushed to the controls, his heart pounding. He saw the problem immediately. The extreme heat of Volcan is 9 had melted part of the ship's landing gear, causing it to fuse with the molten rock below. They were stuck. Outside, the lava beasts continued to roar and pound on the ship's hull, their fiery claws leaving deep marks. The Vardic could feel the heat rising even inside the ship. They knew that if they didn't get off the planet soon, the lava beasts would break through, and they would be doomed. "We need to repair the ship," Captain Raxer shouted to his crew. "Get the tools and start working on the landing gear." The Vardic scrambled to gather their equipment. Every second counted, and the pressure was immense. The ground beneath the ship was unstable, and the constant tremors from the lava beast's attacks made it even harder to work. 2 of the Vardic engineers, Krell and Zaron, crawled under the ship, their protective suits barely holding up against the intense heat. They worked quickly, using laser cutters to free the landing gear from the melted rock. The rest of the crew stayed inside, watching the sensors and keeping an eye on the approaching lava beasts. The beasts were circling the ship, waiting for their chance to strike again. Captain Raxer paced nervously. He could hear the dull thuds of the lava beasts' attacks, each one making the ship shake violently. Time was running out. How much longer? He called out to Krell and Zaron. "We're almost there," Krell replied, his voice tense. "Just a few more minutes." But minutes felt like hours as the lava beasts grew more aggressive. They were determined to get to the Vardic, and their relentless pounding was starting to weaken the ship's hull. Inside, the crew could feel the temperature rising. Sweat dripped down their faces as they anxiously waited for the repairs to be finished. Suddenly, a loud crack echoed through the ship. One of the lava beasts had managed to tear off a piece of the outer hull, exposing the inner layers. The heat surged inside, and alarms started blaring. "We don't have much time," Zaron shouted as he continued to cut through the landing gear. "We need to lift off now." Captain Raxer knew they had no choice. He ran to the controls and prepared to engage the engines, praying that the repairs would be enough. "Hold on to something," he ordered the crew. Krell and Zaron finished the last cut, freeing the landing gear. They scrambled back into the ship just as Captain Raxer hit the ignition. The engines roared to life, and the ship began to lift off the ground, slowly at first, but then faster as it broke free from the melted rock. But the lava beasts weren't done yet. As the ship ascended, one of the largest beasts lunged forward, grabbing the ship's landing gear with its molten claws. The entire ship lurched, nearly pulling it back down to the ground. The crew inside screamed as they were thrown against the walls. "Increase the power," Raxer shouted, his hands gripping the controls. The engines whined under the strain, but the ship slowly started to rise again, dragging the lava beast with it. The beast snarled and tightened its grip, but the heat and force were too much. Finally, with a deafening roar, the lava beast's claws melted away, and the ship shot into the sky, leaving the fiery creature behind. The Vardic were thrown back into their seats as the ship gained altitude. They had escaped, but just barely. The damage to the ship was severe, and the crew was exhausted. Captain Raxer slumped in his seat, his body trembling with relief and exhaustion. "We made it," he whispered, hardly believing they had survived. Captain Raxer knew that they had been lucky. The lava beasts had almost claimed them, and their advanced technology had been nearly useless against the raw power of the planet. As they drifted through space, Raxer couldn't help but think that they had underestimated the true danger of Volcan as 9. It was a lesson they would never forget. As the Vardic ship flew away from Volcan is 9, the crew was silent. They had lost friends and learned a hard lesson. Captain Raxer looked back at the fiery planet and spoke softly. "Volcanus 9 has taught us that not all planets can be conquered. Some places are not meant for us." The Vardic returned to their home world with a story to tell. They spread the word about Volcan is 9, warning others not to underestimate the dangers of unknown worlds. And though they had escaped, the memory of the lava beasts and the deadly flowers stayed with them, a reminder that even the strongest can fall when faced with the true power of nature.